Hi everyone, I'm Nicole McShane and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I am a mum of two, Penelope and Henry, who are 5 and 2 years old, and I post all things family, fashion, cleaning, organising, just basically anything that's day-to-day lifestyle on here. So if you'd like to stick around, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. In today's video, I'm talking to you about one of our favourite cleaning products, which is the absolute amazing Zoflora. Now, I have been a Zoflora user for a number of years. If you've been with me for a while, you'll know that I did a top 10 Zoflora favourite usages a couple of years ago, well before the Mrs. Hinch train came along and Zoflora just became the most popular cleaning product in the country. There are so many different ways that you can use Zoflora. There are so many different types of scents that you can get with Zoflora. So I thought today I would share with you an updated top 10 ways that I use Zoflora and also some of my favourite scents. So if you're new to Zoflora, like where have you been? But also it gives you a good starting point and the best sort of fragrances that you can go out and have a look at to start you off. There are a number of different ranges of Zoflora. You've got your standard ones that are probably available all year round, and then you get limited edition ones like the winter and the summer fragrances, and I always try and pick those up when they're out and about. But my absolute favourites that I get pretty much all year round, I will always have in my cleaning cupboard because they are the best in my eyes. So if you are completely brand new to Zoflora, never before used Zoflora in your life, and you want to start out, I would recommend that Linen Fresh is the first place that you start off with. It's not too harsh of a scent and it's an all-rounder really. I think if you like a particular kind of scent, then this isn't going to be too much or too little for you. I just think it's a really nice all-round scent, and everyone who I've recommended that to, who have tried different scents that have been maybe too much for them, I've actually loved this one. So I would definitely recommend trying the Linen Fresh. This is the smaller bottle. These are about £1 in Home Bargains or B&M. You can pick them up probably in most supermarkets now, whereas when I started using them it was very hard to come by, but you can find them all over nowadays. So that is definitely a firm favourite. The next one that I love, and I seem to just be seeing this everywhere, so I just keep picking it up, is the Country Garden. Now I think this was a limited edition one a couple of years ago, but they've just turned it into a permanent one because it's so popular. But this one is one of my absolute favourites, and again, it's not too overpowering. It is quite a strong scent. It's a bit stronger than the Linen Fresh, but it's still not too much if you want to give that one a go. Like I said, you can probably find this in any store because I seem to see this one out a lot. It's always fully stocked up in the stores that I go to. And my absolute ultimate favourite is this one. Now the box is a bit beaten up because it was the last one left in the store and I was having it, alright. So this is a pet one, and it's odour remover and a disinfectant, and it's the Mountain Air fragrance. Now if you know, I've got 2 dogs and I've got 2 kids that can be quite smelly, so odour remover is definitely necessary. And this is the big bottles. They're around £3.99. As you can see, it's a bit bigger than that, and then they also sell like a medium sized bottle as well. But this scent only comes in the big bottles, and this one is my absolute favourite scent. I just love this one. They have a few different pet ones, but I keep coming back to this one. So that's it for my favourite scents. Let me get in to tell you my favourite ways of how I use Zoflora. Before I get into showing you how I love to use Zoflora, I just want to throw out a little disclaimer that this is in no way sponsored by Zoflora. So I am giving you my own personal views, and I would like you to check their website for any rules of how you use the product, how you dilute it, and obviously rules around how to use it with pets and children, taking the safety precautions, because I don't want someone to use it off of my guidance and something go wrong. So just to know, it is a disinfectant, so you need to really check the health and safety on the website, and they have clear cut information on their website. So yeah, go and check that out before you use this, especially if it's the first time doing it. You want to make sure you're doing it right. So let's start off with the first and probably the most popular way that I see Zoflora being used, and that is in my kitchen sink. So what I like to do is add a cap full of Zoflora, and then I dilute it with some hot, like boiling hot water from my kettle into my sink. I use my little small sink, and I'll just leave it there. I'll soak my cloths in it. So obviously since Mrs. Hinch came along, that's become a really popular method, which I've been using for a really long time anyway. So just put your cloths in there. It'll soak all the bacteria out of the cloths that you've been using, which is great because then they're very fresh for the next day. I like to do this at night time after I've cleaned my kitchen after dinner. I'll put the Zoflora in the sink, soak the cloths with the hot water, and the house, like if you leave your kitchen door open or if you've got an open plan kitchen, like your house will smell insane. It is just stunning. I love it so much, and I do this like near enough every single day, and it's so nice to come down in the morning and your house just smells incredible, and your cloths are all ready to go for the next day, and you've not had to like wash them in the washing machine every single day just to get them nice and fresh. I sometimes will also do this throughout the day and just leave my cloths in there, because then when I need to wipe down my surfaces, I can just take a cloth out of the water, squeeze it out and wipe down all my surfaces, and they're nice and disinfected. So one of the first things you might want to do when using Zoflora is to get some spray bottles. You can pick these up super cheap from the pound shop or from Home Bargains, B&M, wherever, and just dilute some Zoflora in a bottle according to the guidance from the website of what quantities that you will need, and then you can use this as just your regular disinfectant. So you can use this on your counters, on your doors, wherever you want to use this spray, in your bathrooms, kitchens, living rooms, wherever, just as you would a normal spray, like an all-purpose spray, and you can use that everywhere. I love it. It's so convenient and it's so cheap as well. If you buy a full bottle of Zoflora for like £1 and you're refilling a bottle for disinfectant, think of how much money you're saving, because you're going to be using the concentrated Zoflora to dilute in a bottle, which you can then keep using over and over and over again. It's just so convenient and it smells incredible. I'm trying not to say incredible too many times in this video, because I'm sure I said it like 100 times in the last one, but it's incredible. So the next place I like to use it is in my bin. So no one likes bins, do they? And especially no one likes cleaning bins. Like, come on, ugh. Like, I hate the bin. But since using Zoflora in there, I found the job a little bit more enjoyable. So what I like to do is I will spray down the bin with some diluted Zoflora, and then I would also add a cap of Zoflora in the bin, and then add some boiling water in there. Just leave it to sit there and do its magic, and then I will pour it out down my drain outside, which is also good for your drains, and then I will wipe it out with a kitchen towel, and it's all nice and smelling fresh, and it just makes that job of cleaning out the bin that much more enjoyable when it is smelling so incredible. One place you want to make sure is clean is your fridge. You're storing your food in there, and I don't know about you, but I've done it on many occasions where I've left some veg in there and it's gone a bit stinky, and you're just like, oh, this is grim. So what I recommend doing is taking all of your food out of the fridge and then get your cloth out of your sink water of Zoflora, squeezing it out so your cloth is nice and soaked in Zoflora that's been diluted, and wiping down all your fridge. It'll be completely disinfected and it'll be smelling nice for you when you open your fridge. You're not going to have any stinky veggie smells coming out of there, no rotten fruit or whatever, and it just keeps it nice and sanitary for when you're putting all your new fresh food in there. One really good way to use Zoflora, and one I actually get my kids to do because it is a really good chore that you can get young kids to do, is to wipe down my door handles and my light switches. Now obviously don't spray direct Zoflora onto light switches, because that's just not going to be any fun for anyone, is it, when we're spraying it on electricals? So you just make sure that it's your cloth that is soaked in diluted Zoflora, and then just go around and wipe all of your door handles, and it will kill all the germs on there, and also on your light switches and your remote controls, because these places get so grubby and grim and we're touching them all day long and they get forgotten about. So like I said, it's one good way to get your kids helping with the chores, just giving them a cloth that's got Zoflora on and get them to wipe down the door handles. But it's also a good thing to make sure that, especially in these times at the moment, that we're making things that we're touching all the time are kept nice and clean. Make sure you're cleaning your kitchen doorknobs, because that's always one that gets forgotten about. And it's just those little things that are not something you consciously think to clean all the time, but Zoflora comes in good use when you do decide to give them a nice good clean. I also like to use Zoflora as an air freshener, because it smells so good. You want your house to smell that way all the time, like all the time. So I will take my spray bottle and I'll spray it on like my fabrics, my furniture, so that it gives off kind of like a Febreze as you would, but it just smells so good. So I'll spray my beds in the morning, I'll spray the sofa cushions, and the house just smells so fresh straight away. I also will use it in my empty diffusers. So when you get a diffuser from the shop and it's emptied, I just put some concentrated Zoflora in there, add a little bit of water, and then you've still got your reed sticks that you can be using, and you've got yourself a new diffuser. So you're recycling kind of to the environment, and again, it smells so great. Another way to use it as an air freshener is, there's so many different ways you can do this, guys. Well, you can also soak a cloth in Zoflora and put this along the back of your radiator. This is amazing. As soon as you put your radiators on, then your whole house will smell like Zoflora fragrance, which is just fantastic. You can also wipe down your radiators with Zoflora, and this will also have that same effect. I like to also soak kitchen rolls in Zoflora, just neat Zoflora, and I'll put these around the house in different places. So I like to put them in the bin, so it saves you buying like extra bin fragrances. So once you've cleaned out all your bin, just put one in the bin bag at the bottom, and then your bin will smell like nice fragrance Zoflora. Or artificial flowers, I like to soak these in Zoflora and put some tissue in the artificial flowers, and then your flowers smell like fragrance Zoflora. There are just so many ways you can do it. I just think on the spot, oh, I'll put some Zoflora on that, and it'll just be a really nice way to use air freshener. So those are the most common ways that I use it, is to use it as an air freshener, to spray it on things, to use it in a reed diffuser, or to put it on my radiators and also in my bin. And not to mention the sink, because the sink is going to be like a full-on air freshener. One really good way to use Zoflora is to use it on your toilet brush. Now, toilet brushes are manky. They are used for the grimmest of tasks, and no one wants to be going near that. Really? Do we? So I like to add a capful of Zoflora to the toilet brush holder, and then put the toilet brush in there and just soak it in. Another good thing you can also do is to pour some Zoflora on your toilet brush whilst it's in the toilet bowl, and then that way it goes all over the toilet brush, and it just keeps it disinfected and smelling nice and fragrant in your bathroom. Zoflora is really good at cleaning pet toys or children's toys, like the plastic ones. It is so good at cleaning those. Obviously, just make sure you follow the guidance around how to use it around pets and children, but I've had no issues personally, and I like to clean my dog toys with it, and also my children's toys, especially the outdoor toys for children, because they get so grubby and so manky. So I like to go out there either with it neat on a cloth, or spray it down with my handy sprayer and just give it all a good old wipe. I like to put the dog toys in a bucket of diluted Zoflora and some water in there, and it gets all the germs and bacteria off there. Just make sure that they're completely dried and rinsed down before you give them back to your pets. One of my all-time favourite ways to use it, I keep saying this about everything, every single one, just because they're my favourite. It's my favourite thing to do on each thing. One of my favourite ways to use Zoflora, which is how I use Zoflora all the time, is in my spray mop. Now, I got quite a few negative messages last time that I said this, because a few people said that they had them in spray mops and it's broken spray mops before, but I have had no issues whatsoever. I have a Vileda spray mop, and I just put a cap full of Zoflora in and just fill the rest with water, and I've had no issues whatsoever. Just make sure that you clean your pads on the bottom, because otherwise you're just moving dirt around. I mop my floors fully and steam mop them and everything, but daily I will hoover up and I will go around with my spray mop with my Zoflora in and just clean all my floors, and it just makes them all nice. I know that any bacteria, because I have dogs and kids running around in here, is all killed off, and that I know that my house is going to smell great as well, because it's Zoflora. Obviously it's going to smell fantastic. So that is one of my absolute favourite things to do, and I do that daily, probably without fail. That is one thing I use Zoflora for every single day. Again, make sure your pets are out of the room if you are spraying the floor, because you obviously don't want your pets to go on the floor. You just need to make sure it's completely dried before you let them back on there. But other than that, I would say it's perfectly safe to use on your floors, and I'm sure it's on the Zoflora website as well. But definitely give it a try in your spray mop, because I think that is a great way to use it. And last but not least, one of the last places that I like to use Zoflora on a regular basis is in my washing machine. There's a couple of different ways that you can do this. The two ways that I like to do it are either by putting a capful of neat Zoflora in the drum. This way, when you run your cycle, it's disinfecting inside the drum so that you know that your clothes are coming out clean and you're not washing them in a dirty drum. Another way is to add it to the conditioning compartment in the actual top bit, you know, when you're adding your powder and your conditioner. And I like to do this mainly when I'm doing bedding or towels. I don't do it with clothes because I think that they're fragrant enough as it is with the fabric conditioner that I use. But when you're doing towels and bedding, it just adds that extra zhuzh when you are washing them, and they come out. And I love to then hang my bedding over the banister because your house will be fragrant throughout. Just another way to use the air freshener. But your towels and your bedding will smell of Zoflora, and it's a lasting smell. It won't fade. It's really good. So that, I think that's a really good way to use it, is in the conditioning compartment. And you can use it on your clothes if you want to, but I just prefer to do it only on the bedding and the towels, and it'll hold that scent and it'll smell really great. So there you have it, guys. That's my top 10 ways I like to use Zoflora on a regular basis, and I hope you found this really helpful and informative. If you're new to the Zoflora family, welcome. You will not be going back now once you've been converted. If you've not tried Zoflora and you're looking at ways to do it, definitely go and give it a try. You will not regret it. I promise you, it is one of my favourite things ever. I've been using it probably for about 4 or 5 years now. I absolutely love it. And if you've used it and you didn't quite like the fragrance that you used, just try one of the different ones. There's so many out there to suit every different kind of smell that you like. I know what, there's certain ones I definitely don't like. The floral ones, I hate the boutique, whatever it, bouquet. Yeah, bouquet. I hate that smell. Even in Zoflora, I hate it. I can't cope with that. But other people love it. So it's your taste for the scents. And also make sure you check the website for the health and safety tips on how to use Zoflora properly. Don't just go off my say so, because obviously I don't work for Zoflora. I'm not a Zoflora pro as much as I like to think I am, so they have all the information on their website. So thank you for watching my video today, guys. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos and hit that little bell for a notification for when my next video goes live, because they're not that regular at the moment because my schedule's just a little bit up in the air, but there will be some more videos coming, so stay tuned for those, and I will see you in the next one.